Alright, hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about a portable treadmill that the company Egofit has sent over to me, which is called the WalkPad Plus. And I actually did make this video previously, but it was on the older model of the same treadmill, so I want to make this video talk about some of the new changes in this new treadmill. And if you guys do find this video interesting, definitely be sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button, so you guys see more videos like this one. Now to get into the box itself, we get the power cable, the manual, the remote, the tools to fix the treadmill if needed, and also some lubrication, which is only used when needed. Next, we get the treadmill itself, which actually feels a bit heavier than the previous model at 57 pounds. Overall, there's no assembly needed out of the box, and as soon as you unbox the treadmill, you're pretty much ready to go to start using it. And now, looking at the treadmill itself, we could talk about some of the features and the specs that it has before going into my thoughts about the actual treadmill itself. This Egofit WalkPad Plus is a portable treadmill that comes in at around $459 on Amazon, which is meant for people who would like to use their treadmill at their standing desk or simply in place of a full-size treadmill. This type of treadmill is perfect for somebody who just has an apartment or has a house or a smaller house without a basement. This type of treadmill is going to be much better than actually going out and buying something that's like $600 to $1,000, like a full-scale treadmill, and that's going to make a ton of sound too. So it's kind of better in that option or in that scenario to go for a smaller treadmill like this one, which comes in at half the price and is actually a lot more easier to use, and you can just move it around with the wheels that it has. And this treadmill is actually advertised to be pretty quiet without it ever going over 50 decibels, but I'll show you guys an audio example of the treadmill itself a little bit later in this video. The treadmill can also support a max weight of 242.5 pounds while weighing 57 pounds itself. The dimensions of the treadmill are 41.45 inches by 16.54 inches, which is a great size since it's gotten a little bit longer in length compared to the previous model, making the treadmill a little bit more comfortable and safe to walk on. Also, this treadmill doesn't actually have an incline like the previous model, which might be a pro or con depending on how you usually like to use your treadmills. Lastly, the speed range for this Egofit WalkPad Plus is 0.62 miles per hour to 7.46 miles per hour, which is almost double the speed from the max of 3 miles per hour from the previous model. Now to finally get into some of my thoughts about the treadmill itself, let's first talk about how it performs. And in my opinion, the performance of this model is actually really good and a huge performance upgrade from the previous model, since it actually does go almost double the speed now, up to 7 miles per hour compared to the previous 3. So having that extra speed is great, along with the extra size, which is going to make you feel comfortable and safe while you're actually on the treadmill. If this treadmill was actually the same size as the previous model and you were actually at that higher speed, then you definitely wouldn't feel comfortable, and there'd be a pretty big risk you actually just sliding right off and hurting yourself pretty bad. And now to talk about the belt itself, which is actually going to be the part that you're stepping on the most. It's going to be the part that you're actually stepping on to go on the treadmill. I'll say that the quality isn't as good as the previous model. The little problem that I have with this treadmill would be that once you do put your foot down, you do feel that you're actually hitting the floor of the treadmill itself just a little bit more than you would on the previous model. And this honestly isn't really a problem at all. It's just like a little minor thing that I noticed when compared to the previous one, since I do have them side by side. But if I didn't, I probably wouldn't even notice this. But I do have to say that it still is pretty good. And when I did have my previous model, which I still do have now, I've been using it for around 6 months straight, and there haven't been any mechanical issues, and I haven't even had to use any lubricant, so I'd assume the same thing for this newer upgraded model. And now to talk about one of the previous problems that I did have with the older model of this treadmill would have to be that there weren't any handlebars when using it, which didn't feel super safe, especially since the size of the treadmill itself was a lot smaller, and it was actually inclined, and it could go up to speed 5, and you wouldn't really feel super comfortable or safe when walking at a speed like that. But one of the great things about this newer treadmill would have to be the inclusion of adding those handlebars, which you can actually just pull up or pull back down, depending on whether you want to use it or not. And I do have to say that if you are at speed, 6 or 7, the highest speed, it definitely does feel a lot safer to walk on or run on with having the handlebars there, just in case, you actually have to pull that little piece in order for it to completely shut down, and you always feel safe that you're going to be, completely good if you are walking at a higher speed. But I'm happy that this problem has been solved in this newer model, since it does include these handlebars, which you can actually just pull up or pull back down, depending on if you want to use them or not. Also, since the treadmill is meant to be used under your desk, you can also just fold the handlebars back down so that they don't get in the way of your standing desk, which is a great feature. The treadmill is also very easy to move around since it does have wheels, making this portable experience a lot better. And I would say that this feature is actually pretty important, since if you are going to be using it with your standing desk pretty frequently, you're going to have to be moving the actual treadmill from below your desk to next to your desk, depending on if you're actually using it with your desk or not. Now to move on to the sound, it's actually relatively pretty quiet. Here's an audio test of what the treadmill sounds like at some different speeds. Overall, the sound from this treadmill is actually pretty quiet, and it's something you should expect from a higher end treadmill. Personally, I wouldn't be using this treadmill while walking and going on some meetings at a higher speed, since they could probably hear your footsteps while you're on the treadmill. But if you are just doing some casual work or you're doing something where you don't have to talk to anybody, I would definitely go ahead and use this treadmill. Now that we talked about the performance of the treadmill, we can move on to talking about the layout of the treadmill itself. Egofit does provide 2 bottles of lubricant so that you could keep the belt in pretty good shape, after a few months of usage. But like I said before, with the other treadmill that I do have, I've been using it, pretty consistently now for around 6 months, and I haven't even had to use a lubricant. But it is a great addition that they did decide to add to this newer treadmill. The screen on the top of the treadmill displays the speed, the distance and time, and the speed and calories, which all alternate relatively pretty quickly. And another pretty cool feature about the treadmill would have to be that they do include an app which you can use to actually control the treadmill itself, which includes changing the speed or even stopping the treadmill itself. Additionally, 2 of the new features on this treadmill would have to be the safety key in the middle of the handlebar in order to immediately shut down the treadmill in case of an emergency, and the next thing would be the remote holder on the side of the handlebar to keep the remote in place while walking. Overall, for $459, the Egofit WalkPad Plus is a high quality and durable treadmill that does exactly what it advertised to do. Rather than using a full-size treadmill at your house or your apartment, a treadmill like this could do the same job but save you some space. If you have a standing desk already or are looking to get one to have a more ergonomic desk setup, I would definitely recommend looking into a portable treadmill like this to stay even more active at home. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this one or found it interesting, definitely be sure to go down below and hit that like and subscribe button. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.